Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of the Bleed Los podcast. This episode is presented by our partners at BetOnline. They continue to be the number one source for all of your betting and sports needs. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's Wimbledon finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Super easy to join. Head over to their website, which you see here if you're watching, betonline.ag. And use your mobile device or computer. And to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, all you have to do is use our promo code, which is BLEAV, BLEAV, to get that bonus and get into the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Huge thanks to BetOnline for presenting this week's episode. Everyone's here. The gang is here. And real quick, let's just get some housekeeping out of the way. We're going to have an all-star party, guys, and I'm pretty stoked about it.
That is correct. And for those of you listening and that are interested, Lisa impersonator Alicia Del Valle will be at our All-Star Watch Party. So let's go. Let's give them the details, folks.
Yeah, so it's going to be at LA Hot Wings, which is 5468 Valley Boulevard in Los Angeles, 90032. And it's going to be a good time. The game is Tuesday, July 19th. That's when we're going to be there, starting at 5 p.m. But we're not just going to be there, at 5 p.m. We're going to be there for a while, hanging out with all of yous, the listeners and the supporters. And again, as Juan always prefaces, you never know who's going to stop by the carne asada. And even though it's a wing and a pizza place, you never know who's going to stop by the carne asada. So stop by, have some wings, have some pizza, and then also if you wear your Dodgers gear, get half off of appetizers, and then ask about our Lucky 13 special. Ask us, the people that are there. And we're all going to be there hanging out, mingling with you guys. Lisa will also be there, apparently, according to Juan. That's just been added. I did not know that. Thanks for the heads up on that. But it's going to be fun. I'm really stoked. I'm looking forward to because we all don't get together very often. Right? And this is going to be a good time.
And can I just say, first of all, thank you for the announcement. I'm very excited to be together with you guys. If you're wondering, well, where is LA Hot Wings? It is right off of Valley. It's on Valley, right off of the 710. So if you're coming from the East Side area, think El Sereno, Alhambra. It is right next to the LASC practice facility, not far from Cal State LA, that area. Does that help? I hope that helps.
I think that helps. All I know is Roger just booed you because you said LAFC. That's all I heard.
So make sure, Raza, that you show up. We want to make sure that we have the coolest all-star game watch party in all of LA. We know you have many choices. So we want to make sure you come to the real party. As I said, Lisa will be jamming the whole night. It's going to get crazy. The kickbacks, you're going to see ghetto blasters. There might be some cardboard out there. So it'll be a good time, folks.
There's going to be giveaways too. You guys left that out too. So we've got some cool stuff coming from Foco, from Believe. They've helped us out, our network. There was some cool stuff. We've got some other stuff in the works as well. So stay tuned for that.
Can I
just
mention some more things?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we are getting donations like wine baskets. Losordo Wines is donating, Scout and Cellar is donating, Trejo's Cerveza is donating. We might even have a special surprise. Like Danny might come in himself just to try out the pizza, and we'll get a
breaking news.
Breaking
news. But even if Danny doesn't make it, he's already committed to. He loves our podcast. He loves supporting the only Latino podcast talking Dodgers and LA culture and tacos. And Trejo's hello, he's all about tacos and coffee and donuts. So please come see us, come hang out. Yes, it's technically an all-star game watch party, but it's an excuse. You know Mexicanos, you know Latinos. We love any excuse to party. We want you to come and party with us. And more importantly, it's on a Tuesday and it's early and we understand that, but it's kid friendly. If you don't need to get a sitter, bring the kiddos, have some pizza, have some hot wings. Babyface and I stopped by and we tried out the food and it's good. And we're also supporting a locally owned family business. And that's very important to us as well. So Yeah, come see us.
And again, just a reminder, we have a live show. We're going to be doing a live show. So
yes, yeah, we're going to do a live show supporting the LA Hot Wings family-owned business. We're really stoked, and huge thanks to them also for letting us do the damn thing there and have a kickback there. Hopefully, it doesn't get shut down, because if Danny comes through, damn. But it's come through. If you want more info, it's all over the socials at Bleed Los Podcast everywhere. More details there, and also we'll have more details forthcoming as we get closer. Because it's crazy to think it's only 2 weeks away from here to the All-Star game. What the hell? Like, where did the season go? It's flown by like that. But enough of that. Let's talk a little bit of shop.
Well, there are comments, and specifically about a Stand with Juan shirt.
Oh, my boy. My boy, thank you very much.
I think
Sports Empire.
Sports Empire, you have to be there, man. You have to come, man.
I asked if those shirts could be made, and all the printers and even myself said that can't be done.
I believe, and the irony is there's literally a screen print shop right behind Roger.
Yeah,
and
it can't be done.
And our boy Efren is with us again. Efren, I think he wants to see a blonde version of Lisa. I think is what he's going with.
I also, if you're standing with Juan, I really hope that you stand with him by breakdancing out in front of LA Hot Wings on July 19th at 5 p.m.
Oh, for sure, man. For sure.
Speaking of the All-Star game, there's some tidbits out there that the people want the Clayton Kershaw to start it over the likes of Tony Gonsolin and Sandy Alcantara. I guess I should correct. My apologies to Sandy. What say all of you to that?
Hey, look, I get the sentimental value and all that stuff, but first what I would like to address is Kershaw going back on his word. Because Kershaw just a week ago, I'm old enough to remember a week ago, when Kershaw said he did not want to take the start from someone who deserved it. And it's not that Kershaw is not having a good season, but to do that to his boy, Tony Gonsolin, to do that to Goose, I mean, has Kershaw not seen Maverick? Has he not seen Top Gun Maverick? I mean, where's the loyalty there? Where's the loyalty?
That came out that well done on the reference, by the way.
All right, thank you. Well, 2 shows nightly at the Pacoima Hilton.
But I actually, I believe people can change their mind. What if everyone around him is pumping him up? I mean, there is a movement on Twitter. They want Kershaw. This could be the last time this is possible to see Kershaw start an all-star game. And Tony, he has just come into his own, and as awesome as he's doing, I'm counting on him being here and being around for years. And he's going to be there. It's not like we're talking the start. It is emotional, but I'm that person that wants Kershaw to die a Dodger, and this is only going to seal that story, that legacy, and it's his last chance to do it. That's why I'm for that. Of course, in a perfect world, Tony, our cat daddy, our cat meow, cat man. Whoa, this is just kombucha, I promise.
I'm gonna need to see the label on that real quick. I agree with everything Alicia just said, in part because obviously people can change. Juan's changed. I mean, he used to be cool. But Clayton Kershaw starting the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium in what can potentially, I mean, this, let's be 100% honest, this could also be it for Kershaw, right? So why not let Kershaw get the nod? The best left-hander of his generation, the best left-hander since Sandy Koufax, in my opinion. Obviously, is there? Yeah, I mean, and also, there's 2 other guys in the wings there, right? Sandy Alcantara, like I mentioned, and Tony Gonsolin. But to Alicia's point, they're probably going to be around for a while. But also, if baseball is all about tradition and history and giving flowers to all that, give Kershaw's flowers, man. Because if there's a guy that kind of got destroyed a little bit, but now he's kind of getting pushed up as daisies would say. Give the man his flowers. Let the dude do it. Because again, when are you going to start the game at home when it could be your kind of your last hurrah, if you will. You know what I mean? What do you think, Roger?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, did they just say also the other day that Manfred gets to pick kind of like a special all-star, like if he wants to? I mean,
I
I don't know if
believe it's a Legends.
yeah, like a Legends. I mean, talk could be. I mean, it could be Pujols, but I mean, if Kershaw doesn't make the team, would he pick Kershaw to have, and then they have him start the game? I mean, yeah.
Do you know how many guys he can pick? I don't know.
I thought it was going to be one for each league. Is it just one overall?
That I'm not sure. It might be one guy for each league, but
Here, you keep speaking. I'll Google it.
yeah,
That's
so
going to be.
I mean, for sentimental for sentimental reasons, I mean, obviously, we'd love to see Kershaw start that game.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it could be his last year in LA, and to have Kershaw, the best left-hander that we've seen in our generation, start that game, I mean, it'd be truly special, right? So, I mean, I'd be down to see that.
It's one player for each league.
Okay.
So it could be Theo, it could be Kershaw. I don't know who it would be in the AL, Verlander maybe, but Verlander's already in the mix, so I don't know. Truthfully, I haven't been paying attention to anything in the AL because of the Yankees. That's about it.
Just thought of something. Does it?
Sure.
I mean, the MLB, they owe us for that weak punishment that they gave the Astros. I mean, this is a nice way to start making it up to Dodger fans. We're not going to forget. And I take it personally that the Astros were not punished and that those players got away with what they did. And Kershaw was definitely affected by that scam that they had going on in Houston. So MLB, I mean, he's doing well this season too. I'm not. You said it yourself, Juan. It's not just on paper.
Right.
He's doing well. He keeps coming back. He's doing his job. That's why he's a top rotation guy. I just think this is the last opportunity. And what does the game really mean if it's not sentimental?
Okay, that was my question right there, Alicia, was when you guys view the All-Star game, is it for sentimental reasons or do you want to see an electrifying moment? Because you guys tell me what's more electrifying, watching Sandy Alcantara face Ohtani, Trout, and Aaron Judge, or Kershaw face Ohtani, Trout, or Aaron Judge?
Real quick, Juan, I mean, I think that could happen too later in the game because those starters will probably be in for at least 2 at bats. So who's to say he can't come in like in the 4th and face those guys as well?
That is true, but if you don't have that opportunity and you missed it, would you regret it? That's a because are the Marlins going to make the playoffs? We know the Angels of California of the planet Earth aren't going to make the playoffs. I think they were officially eliminated yesterday. Is that correct, Alonso?
I believe
so. The only time, well, you know what? You just recently, but you just didn't have it on a national stage because the Marlins just played the Angels down in Miami. So Alcantara faced Ohtani and Trout.
I mean, this is a time for MLB also to showcase their best players, right?
Exactly.
And why wouldn't you want to put up, the Kershaws of the world against those guys, or and these other guys that are not necessarily household names, right? Clayton Kershaw's known, Ohtani's known, right? I mean, when you think of in the grand scheme of things, Shohei Ohtani is the Galactico. That's the guy, right? And then everyone kind of Trout, everyone else falls under him. But how often does baseball make the headlines? You know what I mean? Like we heard about that Freddie Freeman bit, the telenovela that happened, and that's what was all over ESPN. It wasn't that Shohei Ohtani's raking. It's not that Tony Gonsolin's out here just dominating. It's that Freddie Freeman was upset about everything that happened with that deal. So why not showcase those guys to the national stage on national TV? Because again, it's the All-Star game, and I think the MLB All-Star game is one of the last All-Star games that does it right. The Pro Bowl, the Pro Bowl is not. I can't watch it, so I mean, I don't know a lot of people that can. Go ahead, Alicia.
When it was in Hawaii, at least you got to go to Hawaii and watch
right.
it. I digress. Right. To answer one's question, specifically, I want to see Kershaw. That would make headlines. Like I'm agreeing with Alonso. To strike out Ohtani or to, get those outs, I think that's a bigger deal because it's Kershaw and it's the twilight of his career. So
Okay, but that's as a Dodger fan. That's what we want to see as a Dodger fan. This is the All-Star game. This is on a national. This is a national game.
And
Do you
Kershaw's
think
a
anybody?
national star. He's
So,
the biggest star on our staff for pitching.
So you think that's what the rest of the country wants to see?
On a national level, though, you know who's probably going to start that All-Star game for the American League? It's Justin Verlander.
Probably.
Right.
Justin Verlander's having a crazy season coming back from Tommy John. So you'd have Kershaw versus Verlander, Dodgers versus Astros at Dodger Stadium in the All-Star game. That's not national headlines?
I mean, that's as I mean, obviously, if they go Kershaw, if they go Kershaw, Shane McCannahan, I think is how you say his name. They're gonna be like, who? They're gonna pull out that Conor McGregor meme. But I mean, either way, I mean, to your point, if you want to get eyes on baseball, Rod Manfred, that's what you got to do, man. Get. It's the All-Star game. Get your stars up there and do the thing. I understand the tradition. I do. I completely understand the tradition. I also understand that you can change your mind, and good for you, Clayton, for changing your mind, because he's also changed his mind. Look how Lucy is playing this year. It's okay to be cool, Juan. It's okay.
No, look, I get it. The All-Star game has this. This is why we have fans voting. How many times do we have guys that make the All-Star game that really don't deserve to make the All-Star game, but they're there on reputation, right?
Right.
So I get that. That happens. But look, if we're being honest, and let's be honest, la neta, okay? Aquí hablamos con la verdad, all right?
Yeah.
If we look at it, and like I said, Kershaw's having a good year, man.
Yeah.
His ERA is 2.57. So
It's not like, and I'm not even saying Kershaw's a scrub. Like, we're not saying that at all. He's having a great year. He just obviously had some time away because he was a little hurt.
Right, but look, you know who else has a 2.57 ERA?
Who's that?
Is Julio Urias.
See.
And I don't hear the call for Urias to start the All-Star game.
Okay.
So this is just a decision. Let's just be clear that the reason why we want this is because we think it's at Dodger Stadium. He should, it should be a Dodger starting the game, right? Is that what everybody is feeling?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I agree with that. And Urias is, I don't want to say anything I don't want you coming after me. But I would still want Kershaw over Julio. That's my sentiment as a Dodger fan. I'm admitting it. And I don't like the way some Dodger fans treated Kershaw, even after we found out how the Astros were cheating. Like, I just think this is the last time we get to see him in this position. And how important is the win for the All-Star game? For optics purposes, the MLB, I think, would do better having the veteran, the Kershaw, Sandy Koufax called him a better pitcher than Sandy. There's just so many more reasons to start Kershaw for the sentiment, for the value of what the game means.
100%.
In my opinion.
100%. Real quick, if you guys are watching, or if you're listening and watching, and if you're at work, maybe getting in trouble because that's why you're not watching, chime in. What do you guys think? We got the as the kids would say, the DMs are open. The comments are open. Tell us and chime in with your thoughts and let us know. Who do you want to start the All-Star game? Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, Sandy Alcantara. I mean, those are all, and let's also be honest here. All three of those options are great options.
I know.
They're not,
what a problem.
yeah. I mean, that's a decision I obviously am not having to make. But at the end of the day, that's cool. Moving on. Could I publicly shame a friend of mine?
Absolutely.
Travis
We're
Couch.
all about publicly shaming people.
No.
I know. Juan is for sure.
For sure.
I stand with Juan. Hashtag.
That's right. Shouts out Sports Empire.
My good friend Travis Couch of Scary Pool Party and Wires. Shout out to the homie Travis. He sent me this in a text a few moments ago, and I couldn't help but just chuckle a little bit. But I kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on it. So it's from I think it's from Instagram. I think I might be wrong, but I'll find out. Quote: Here is the funny thing: if you see someone wearing a Dodgers or Giants or Padres hat, you might assume that they're just wearing it for the fashion. Maybe there's a 50-50 chance they're a fan, and if they were, they're probably pretty casual. Quote, yeah, I'm a Dodgers fan, like go LA, Quote. But if you see someone wearing an Angels hat, you know they are a baseball fan, like very strong baseball fan, probably very knowledgeable, because who else is stupid enough to endure all this and still go out there and spend money on actual merch to rep this team? Now, let me just preface, we're not going to shit on the Angels. They do that on their own. We don't need to do anything more than that, because I mean, let's be real. The way that they
but
go
I'm the
about
a-hole.
stuff-
I'm the a-hole.
right. And I'm not even talking smack about their fans, because they actually have a pretty chill fan base. What do you think of that, Juan? Like, what's your takeaway when you see that? Because all I hear is kind of virtue signaling, as far as like, oh, the Dodgers fans aren't real fans, and to me, it's like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Look, to me, there's truth in the sense that if you are going to wear the scarlet letter, then you really are a fan. I mean,
Well
like,
done.
you're in it.
Done.
Yeah, for all you Nathaniel Hawthorne fans out there, I'm throwing some love towards you guys. But look, if you rep the Angels and you put up what's going on over there, hey, all power to you. But, we rep a team that wins. We rep a team that is in the playoffs every year. And like our number one fan, by the way, Philip Lopez, joining us on the live. And I love that you put number one fan here, because it gives me an opportunity. The great James Caan, the star of The Godfather, Sonny Corleone. He was also in Misery. He passed away today. There's that famous line in Misery, "I'm your number one fan." So shouts out to James Caan. He was a real one. Go out there tonight and watch one of his most underrated performances in Michael Mann's movie Thief. He was fantastic in that, but we lost a great one today.
Alicia, real quick before you chime in, is it also fair that this is happening because we are kind of regarded now as the evil empire?
Well, I was going to say haters going to hate. It's just a testament to how people just hate LA anyway. I mean, look at the New York Times is notorious for constantly writing bullshit stories on us.
Facts.
Yet they come and move here. Like tonight, shout out Cubs fans. So I want to say that I know people who wear the Angels hat, not necessarily because they are more knowledgeable or they like suffering. They don't like the Dodgers, and they know it's like a little kind of like an FU. And I know two different people that do that. They're just like,
and one is Juan Ramirez.
no.
Hell no. I would never wear the scarlet letter.
Remember, I just sent Babyface a tweet. Somebody had asked the public, their followers, who are the worst baseball fans in all of MLB? And it was, you go through the thread and it starts with Braves, then Astros, and then Yankees. But then once one person mentions the Dodgers, the thread underneath that is brutal. Like the hate is real. And I just was smiling, just scrolling.
just scrolling, smiling. Roger.
You spell our name right. Yeah.
Roger, what do you think? And I left you last on purpose because I know your fandom is
Hold on, let me get settled in. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I was getting ready.
I mean, I think if wearing a Dodgers hat, wearing a Yankees hat, wearing like a Red Sox hat can be trendy, right? So when you do see somebody with a Dodger hat, you don't really know, like, okay, are these guys wearing it for a trend or are they real fan? Most of the time, they are pretty much, real fans. But like you said, wearing an Angel hat, not even wearing a Padres hat, I mean, that's not really trendy, right? I mean, right. They gotta at least somewhat like that team. So, I could see his point there as well. They must follow the team in somewhat. I mean, I don't think you don't see mostly. I have a couple relatives as well that they're Angels fans, right? And for some reason, like you guys mentioned, they hate on the Dodgers, which I don't really understand that.
Because we hate them, right? Like,
yeah, for me, it's like I don't care. I mean, the Angels are playing. Okay, cool. I'll watch the game, but I don't care one way or another what they're doing.
They're not even in the same league.
Exactly. So, but they have this like built-in hate that they're even like to showing to like their kids. Like, oh, I hate the Angels. Like I mean, I hate the Dodgers. Like, why? Like, what the Dodgers do to you? Like, I don't see that connection. The Angels fans like hating on the Dodgers. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And also let's preface, like we don't have disdain towards these other fan bases. I just think those sorts of comments are funny in general, because it's like, what? I wouldn't associate like a Yankee fan wearing, being a knowledgeable baseball fan just because they're wearing a Yankee hat. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's, in some cases, maybe they're just from New York. They may not know anything about baseball, but maybe they're just from the Bronx and they want to wear a New York hat, right? So I don't understand it, but I do at the same time, because we are the new evil empire. I mean, how long we've talked about this for a while. The Dodgers have been pretty successful for the better part of 10 years now, a decade. So, I kind of get the hate at the same time, but also when you have two of the best players on the planet and you're not really doing a whole lot, it's a slippery slope, no?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, look, Dodger fans are tough, because even sometimes I have to admit I have a hard time dealing with them, especially when we have a villain of the week every week. They hate everybody. They want to run somebody out of town. It was Freddie Freeman when it was the telenovela. Pobre Federico. What did Federico ever do? He showed emotion. Poor Kimbrel takes a baseball 120 miles per hour off of his back, and people want to hang the dude. Yeah. And he came out and, whatever. Okay, he hasn't been pitching well. But, the last couple of appearances, he's actually done a pretty good job. You know who I feel really bad for?
Who's that?
Is David Vassegh, the host of Dodger Talk. Because Vassegh has to talk to some of you guys. And I listen to Dodger Talk when I'm driving home from the stadium, and I listen to people calling in, and they're just like saying all this hateful stuff. And Vassegh has to sit there and take all of it, right? Like, Vassegh's got to sit there and say to you and listen to it and be nice, because it is his job after all. Right? He has to listen to you guys and talk all this madness and harp on all these ludicrous takes that you guys have, because one minute you guys love the Dodgers, and then the next minute you guys you think the Dodgers are the worst team ever. So I understand why Dodger fans have some hate.
Who's pulling up?
For those of you guys who are regular fans to the live, you guys know what that means. We have a guest coming on. Babyface, open the gate.
Let me look. What the? Okay, now I know my phone's really tapped. Okay, now I know it's really tapped.
Who's there?
Who is it?
You'll see.
Hopping by for a few minutes here in the carne asada, we have the host of Dodger Talk on AM 570 LA Sports, David Vassegh. David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the invite. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming through. So let's talk shop real quick. The sky is no longer falling with the Dodgers. And as you recall, a mere week ago, the sky was falling, and it looks like the Dodgers, for the most part, have righted the ship. But my main question is, Ryan Pepiot, is he going to come back? And the reason I ask that is because there's that 5-option rule now, and if they're going to keep making spot starts, is he going to be the guy that they're going to have for a couple more spot starts, or what what have you kind of heard in that realm?
Yeah, that's a great point. They're going to have to measure how many more times they want to do this with Pepiot. The good news is Mitch White is pitching really well, and with Andrew Heaney on his way back and the Dodgers getting some off days, I'm not sure they're going to need to call up Pepiot unless there is another injury. So they're well aware of how many times they could call him up, but obviously it's more limited than in years past. And with Dustin May on his way back, being stretched out to be a starter, the Dodger rotation seems to be more deep than it was just a couple of weeks ago.
It's crazy what a little bit of time does, right? Because again, we were talking a mere weekish ago that the sky was falling, and then now it looks like the ship has been righted. They just swept the Rockies, and everything seems to be going okay. Looking ahead, though, I actually wanted to ask about Dustin May. What have you heard about a Dustin May timeline? We heard about Blake Trinan. Looks like it's going to be August-ish sometime. Walker Buehler around that time potentially. But what about Dustin May? Where are we at with him?
Yeah, right now he's at Camelback Ranch, and he's throwing to hitters, simulating games at Camelback Ranch every 5th day, a la a starter, and being stretched out as a starting pitcher. And once he completes doing that 5 times, I believe it was his 3rd or 4th time just a couple of days ago, he'll go out on a rehab assignment. So August seems to be a fair timeline, not the beginning of August, but mid to late August for Dustin May to possibly help the Dodgers in the rotation if needed. If not, they've always said this, it's better to be stretched out and then come in as reliever rather than only being stretched out for a couple of innings. So he definitely is a guy that they're, I wouldn't say counting on, but certainly are expecting to contribute in some form or fashion. I always pump the brakes when everybody says, oh, Dustin May's on the way back. Yeah, he's on the way back, and yeah, he's healthy, but I mean, let's not try to put the weight of the season on Dustin May's shoulder. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery, and even though guys come back, I know they don't always feel like themselves. So I feel like the Dodgers have the right expectations. The fans should have the same expectations as well.
Fair point. Go ahead, Alicia.
I love that. You went right into what I wanted to talk about, Dave, the fans. Okay, so first of all, I want to start off with how much I enjoy Dodger Talk and how much I enjoy the Dave Vassegh perspective, because you've been doing this for a minute and you have this rapport with the team, right? Like they speak to you differently than they do everyone else. So I want to start off with thanking you for the glimpses that you give us into the Dodger dugout, into the clubhouse. The guys kind of relax around you, and baseball players aren't known for their candor, right? They're kind of like stoic. So I love that. But B, what does that say about the clubhouse right now? Like, I want to know the temperature after all that Freddie Freeman drama and, the injuries and the slumps and all that. Are we in a good place? Because, Dodger fans, we get pretty fanatic and people start jumping off bridges when things go wrong, like Alonso just mentioned.
Yeah, they're past the Freddie Freeman drama in Atlanta. Basically, Alicia, the team just wants to move on. They're tired of hearing about it. They just want to move on, and I feel like they've done that on this homestand. So Freddie's in great standing with the team. Him and Trey Turner are the only two Dodgers to start every single game as we sit here on July 7th. They're the only two Dodgers to start every single game. So there's no way you could doubt his commitment to playing for the Dodgers. And look, I thought it was good for baseball. It was kind of like an NBA type of drama with that Freddie stuff going on in Atlanta. It actually got baseball in the news cycle. So come on, Freddie, that was good for the game right there. Nobody talks about moving the runners over on SportsCenter. They talk about Freddie Freeman and whether or not he wants to be a Brave or a Dodger, or if the Dodgers are a second fiddle. So he brought some drama to the game of baseball, which is always good for us, maybe not for him and the team, but they've moved on. They're tired of talking about it, whether it's externally or internally. They're tired of talking about it. And Freddie is one of the guys. So I think he's embraced being a Dodger more now that he has had closure in Atlanta.
Awesome. I like to hear that. So the clubhouse is fine. Everyone's kind of gelled. We're in July now, and this team is hot. That team is hot. I want reassurance from you, Dave. I want reassurance. I want to know that it's all good in the clubhouse. The guys are kind of,
Alicia, they're on pace for 104 wins. I would say things are good.
So I always say that Dodger fans, we are so spoiled, right? Like we forget those McCourt years and stuff like that. So last night, a great example, Oakland, they had less than 7,000 fans at their game against Toronto. Shohei is in Florida, the Marlins, and I think they had 18,000 fans, and that was a sellout for them. That was one of their top sellouts. Dodger Stadium is a different beast, and I always say to Dodger fans that lose their or want to fire Roberts and get rid of this guy and the bad stuff they say about players we've already lost. Are Dodger fans too spoiled? Or are we right on track for you, in your opinion? Because again, you've been doing this a while.
For sure spoiled. I'm not sure they realize that this doesn't happen everywhere since this ownership group took over. They've had sustained success that the Dodgers have not had since they moved to Los Angeles. Yeah, they've won a couple of championships in the 60s, and I'm not trying to minimize that. Those were big-time championships. 59, the second year they were in LA. Obviously, 2 more in the 80s, but the consistency of winning for 11 straight years just hasn't been there since they moved to Los Angeles. And you look at other teams like the Chicago Cubs who are in town. This is a great example. They won the World Series for the first time in 2016. What happened to that Cubs dynasty? And here the Dodgers still are going strong, on pace for 104 wins, the favorites to win the National League. So there is the contrast right there. What happened to Brizzo, Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo? What happened to Javi Baez? What happened to Joe Madden? They're not even in Chicago anymore. And all those fans in the South Bay, those front runners, they have turned in those Cubs hats for God knows what. So, you know, the dynasty is over with the Cubs while the sustained success for the Dodgers continues.
I love that. I love that. If you're going to clog up our freeways, I mean, you root for the team that's here. That's my opinion. And either one, even down south, like, I don't care. But thank you.
You know, all those Midwest transplants in the South Bay, they want to take selfies by the beach. They got their Cubs hat on after they won the World Series, but don't see many Cubs hats around town these days.
Tell him, Dave. Tell him. And like my co-host would agree, here at the Bleed Los podcast, we try to tell Dodger fans, calmate, right, one?
Well, not only, but the thing is like Dave, you know, he has a platform and he uses it. He calls people out. So I want to give you credit, Dave, because you were the first one before the whole telenovela with Freeman. You were the first one that was calling out this behavior. So I do want to give credit where credit is due, because I had no clue of it until it blew up over Atlanta. But you were the one. So what I want to ask you, Dave, and just to clarify for our listeners, you are an employee of 570 and not the Dodgers. Is that correct? So,
and transparency, the Dodgers do own part of 570.
Okay. So how do you manage that fine line between being critical of the team, but at the same time, you're kind of you play a role in that you help to promote the team?
Well, number one, I grew up in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley, born and raised out here in the San Fernando Valley. I grew up listening to Vin Scully and Chick Hearn, right? Did you ever put Vin Scully or Chick Hearn in the homer bucket? They never were homers. They called it down the line, and you always knew they wanted the Lakers and the Dodgers to win. And if they weren't playing up to that standard, especially Chick, he would let you know. And Vin would do it in his own Vin way, his poetic way. But that's what I grew up with. And that's what fans in Los Angeles want. They don't want homers. If I was a homer every single night, nobody would be listening. But the fans aren't blind. You guys are watching the same game I'm watching. So if there's a bad play or a bad at-bat or a bad strikeout, how am I going to pretend like that didn't happen? But what I try to do is get the player to tell me what exactly went on, what was going on, why did that happen? Because it's very easy to sit at home and just say, oh, this guy stinks. Well, there's always a reason why. And I always tell fans that a great player or a really good player doesn't always turn bad overnight. There's usually a reason why, either a personal issue or usually a physical issue that they're not talking about. So with all that in mind and the information that I try to gather before and after games, I try to present it that way instead of just being a guy that's going to say, oh, this guy stinks, get rid of this guy, bench that guy, trade that guy. That's really not the way to approach it. And that's part of the reason why guys seem to trust me and respect the fact that I'm not out here to torch them. I'm actually here to try to explain the background of what's going on the surface.
All right. With the last few minutes that we have with you, I have two questions, burning questions I need answers for. Well, actually, the second one is more of a request. The first question I had, in that famous video that was on Instagram between you and Adrian Gonzalez boxing, he sucker punched you, right?
No. We were doing a fantasy football draft, and he had all that boxing equipment in his garage, and he said, "Come on, let's put it on. I want to punch you." Let's. Obviously he had a lot of buried anger towards me from when he played, and he could pack a punch. I mean, he's legit. And then Cody took some swings too. He took it easy. He pulled his punches on me.
So why does everybody treat you like a punching bag?
Hey, whatever they need, I'm here. I mean,
all right, and here, this is a favor that I need you to help us with. Okay, we are trying to educate Princess Del Valle here on the golden era of wrestling. So I still call it WWF. Can you tell her what are wrestlers from that era that she needs to be well informed on?
So number one, Miss Elizabeth was the hottest thing going in the 80s. So she is your Miss Elizabeth.
Yes,
right
absolutely. There. Absolutely.
Okay, so I was a Hulkamaniac. I took my vitamins. I said my prayers. I did not go to the gym. I'm still skinny fat, so I missed out on one of them. I mean, Andre the Giant, I hated that guy. I hated Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, talk about drama. The love triangle between Bobby the Brain Heenan, Hulk Hogan, and Andre Giant. That's a novella right there, right? That's what drew us in. That's what drew us in. And then with the superpowers breaking up, I mean, you need a love interest, and you need men fighting over a woman, and that's what you had with Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage over Miss Elizabeth. So that was the sweet spot of all of it.
Do you see, Alicia? This is why it's so important for you to be up to. These are the conversations we could have on the show if you were more well informed on the golden era. Yeah, and you're right, Dave. She is our Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah. How about just pop in WrestleMania 3, Alicia? It will have you hooked.
Okay, I'm down.
You brought it up, Dave. What is the best WrestleMania?
It's WrestleMania 3. It's Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. The slam. Heard round the world.
There we go.
We go back and forth because I'm convinced it's WrestleMania 10. So I mean, that's I mean, again, it could be 1A, 1B, right?
I stopped watching after 4.
Wow. Wow.
Dang.
Fair, but completely fair. And then, and before we set you loose, as we mentioned, we're all about the Dodgers, tacos, and LA culture here. You grew up in the Valley. I have to know what's your favorite taco and where do you get it from?
Ooh, there's a great taco spot on the corner of Victory and Fallbrook. It's been there for 25 years. I go there all the time. I forgot the name of it. I just go there.
And what do you get?
Oh, well, when my wife was pregnant, we'd have to go to these pregnancy classes. And for me to get through it, I'd have to get at least 4 chicken tacos and maybe a couple of asada tacos. So that has a sentimental meaning to us because that's what we used to do on the way to what do they call it? The Lamaze classes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Did wifey get tacos too? I mean, she's the pregnant.
Oh, yeah. She was pregnant. Throw it down.
And that's all that matters. Happy wife, happy life.
By the way, my new favorite spot is close to Dodger Stadium. It's Mexicali Tacos on Fig. That's where I go before a lot of Dodger games. It's right on Fig, and there's a coffee joint right next door to it, a Brazilian coffee joint a couple of doors down. So Mexicali Tacos on Figueroa is my spot.
Is that the one right by the freeway entrance, the 110?
Yeah, it's right over the bridge right there at the Fig corridor.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah. Mexicali Tacos, great burritos. They got cauliflower tacos if I want to go plant-based that day. They are awesome. I love Mexicali Tacos.
See, these are the notes that we have to take.
Wow, plant-based. Do you go with Gabe Kapler? Is that where you guys go to get tacos?
Man, I got to get my cholesterol down. I can't be throwing down asada every day.
It's the Italian food, right? That's what's killing you.
Yeah. Pasta, meatballs, all that stuff. You know who actually got me going plant-based? You'll never believe this. Mark McGuire.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Mark McGuire sent me a Netflix documentary on how to, just kind of scaring you about how some of this meat is processed and how they treat these animals and flood them with antibiotics. And it kind of scared me into going plant-based since I don't work out that much. And ever since then, I would say I'm 20. 70-30 plant-based.
Wow.
Speaking of former Cardinals that were Dodgers hitting instructors, Dave, how the hell did Jack Clark how did he become the Dodgers hitting instructor?
Luckily, it was only for 1 year? He wasn't very good.
Well, you know what? Mark Langell told us that he would wear the pullover so he wouldn't have to wear the Dodger jersey. Is that true?
I wouldn't put it past him. Please. I mean, you're bringing up dramatic names here. Jack Clark.
Hey, these guys make fun of me because I'm triggered by Niedenfuhr, right?
He does,
like,
yeah.
I'm sure Tom Niedenfuhr is a nice guy, and I understand it's an irrational hatred that I have for him, but I bring it up anytime I can because that's me.
We all need closure in our lives, right? Sometimes it happens a year later. Sometimes it happens 30 years later. And I had my closure with Tom Niedenfuhr last year when the 81 Dodgers had their reunion in the Stadium Club. Niedenfuhr was part of that 81 team, right? And he was there. And Steve Yeager calls me over. He's like, "Hey, Vassegh, come over here. Hey, how you doing?" I'm all like, "Okay, I'm saying hi to Steve Yeager." But who's standing next to him? Tom Niedenfuhr. So I had to say hello to Tom Niedenfuhr, shook his hand, and he was the nicest guy. It's like, oh my gosh, you are the nicest guy. And Rick Monday and Steve Yeager have told me he's a great guy. And I witnessed that for myself, and we shook hands. And that was my closure on Tom Niedenfuhr giving up that home run in Game 6 of the 85 NLCS.
And you know what, Juan? That's called growth. That's growth, Juan.
I hope to get there to one point. I do. I really do. I understand my hatred for him is irrational. I really do. I mean, Mark, in that 81 reunion that you're talking about, Dave, Mark told us that Niedenfuhr was expecting to get booed, that he was surprised that the fans actually cheered for him. And that makes me feel bad for the guy, that he was anticipating to get booed and he still showed up.
Yeah, he's basically the Bill Buckner of the Dodgers, right? I mean, he'll always go down in infamy no matter how good of a career he had, giving up that home run. And I've talked to guys on that team because I want answers, and I've tried to get to the bottom of it. Number one, there are a couple of different reasons why he was in that game. At the beginning of the year, Steve Howe was suspended again, and he was supposed to be their closer, so they had nobody else. And Tommy used Tom Niedenfuhr relentlessly during that season. And even in that playoff series, Niedenfuhr gave up the home run to Ozzie Smith in St. Louis. And then in that Game 6, he actually was pitching his third inning that day. There was no reason for him to be in that game. Jerry Royce was warming up in the bullpen. And Andy Van Slyke, who was not Andy Van Slyke at the time, was on deck. And if they bring in Jerry Royce, the left-hander, Whitey Herzog's going to pinch it with Steve Lake. And, it was unnecessary. Got to bring in Royce.
And for the sake of transparency, Hulk Hogan is also in Juan Ramirez's Fight Club.
I'm Team Savage over here, so I get it.
But he also
heard Macho Man was a better guy.
Well, you know what? It's funny. People say that. Do I hate Hogan because of what I know about Hogan now? And I'm like, no, I hated Hogan when I was a kid because everybody rooted for Hogan. He always won. It was ridiculous. It was just like, to me, Ric Flair got the business. He knows, hey, give and take. I'll lose one, you win one. That's the way the business should go.
Rematches make money, right?
That's right. Rematches make money.
Hey, Alicia with the big picture. See, she's getting it. She's starting
she's learning.
Hey,
she's learning.
All right,
Speaking of that,
how
about rematch Dodgers-Astros?
Hey.
Hey, that makes me nervous, man. That makes me nervous, Dave. Only because of this. If they lose, we're not going to hear the end of it.
No,
we're not going to hear the end of it.
Cubs fan right now. You sound like a
Yeah.
Cubs fan. If we lose,
he is a White Sox sympathizer, so that doesn't really surprise me if I'm being totally transparent.
I wish I shared your guys' optimism. I'm telling you, this is the Niedenfuhr effect. This is 1985. Every time, like when Matt Stairs hit the home run off of Broxton, I was like, we got Niedenfuhred. We just got Niedenfuhred.
Can I throw in my 2 cents?
Sure.
I as much as I would love that telenovela, Dave, Dodgers, Astros. I want Dodgers, Yankees because my ex-boyfriend is a Yankees scout, and I want to destroy them on television.
Wow.
Jeez. TMI.
Yeah. She took it to a whole level that I was not expecting. Like,
hey, Dave, you're really good at bringing out information out of people. We did not know that about Alicia, so thank you.
Yes. I'm exaggerating. He's a really great guy. Everyone loves him.
Breaking news: Alicia wants her ex-boyfriend to just pounce.
You're the ex-boyfriend. Who are you talking about?
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Friend of the carne asada, Dave Vassegh. Thank you for stopping by. Follow him at @thereal_DV on the Twitters. He's a great follow. All Dodgers insight, and hopefully we can have you back on sometime.
No problem, guys. It was fun.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
There he is, insider. I mean, clearly insider because he got some inside info that we didn't know about Alicia at all out of nowhere. So big up to the homie Dave for stopping by. That was. Hey, all I'm saying is we got some info that we weren't expecting. That was a curveball I did not expect to see today.
And to my boy Sports Empire saying that I could do the Dusty Rhodes dance. Let me just tell you this. Let me tell you about Hard Time.
There it is.
You don't know about Hard Time? Say Hard Time to the garbage man who can't pay his bills that Monday. Say Hard Time to the construction worker out there. That's my Dusty Rhodes right there.
How many shots did you take during that interview?
I will say this. I don't think my Dusty Rhodes is as good as my Macho Man Randy Savage.
Your Macho Man's pretty good.
Wondering, yeah. I was celebrating 4th of July on the Pukster's grave. He was kissing my boots. Yeah, dig it.
I like that Alicia's like, what is happening? What is happening? You're learning. You're learning.
Joe Bimo though.
No, Joe Bimo.
Yeah, I need to see one dressed up like Bimo, and then
Bimo. I think Bimo's in elite.
Bimo's
company.
Is better. I will say that.
Yeah, he's in elite company. But a lot. What was your biggest takeaway from Vassegh, Dave, or Dave Juan?
From Vassegh, Dave. His confidence that the Dodgers would beat the Astros. That scares me. I mean, you guys just talked about it before. Verlander is having a great season, and the Astros offense is, I mean, whether they're banging on trash cans or whatever, the Astros offense is up there. Look, it's the Yankees or the Astros in the American League. Right. So if the Dodgers can find a way to get out of the National League in the World Series, we're going to be looking at either a Yankees or an Astros World Series. But we still have a whole second half to where, so we can't get that far ahead of ourselves.
What about you, Alicia?
Well, I would just ask this simply. Who would MLB prefer?
Probably the Yankees, if we're being totally honest. Yeah.
Yep. You know what? I have no love. I don't want to share anything with Astros, and nor their apologist fans. Like, no. They don't deserve the energy. They don't deserve the prime time. Nope. I am pulling all the way for it.
I feel that. What about you, Roger?
I'd like to see the Astros, but I need MLB to go into Minute Field and make sure that there's no cameras there first. Make sure it's a level playing field, and then I think we're good.
I feel like if the Astros made the World Series, regardless of who the opponent is, it'd be so scrutinized that it just wouldn't even like it would be like it'd be the Astros at featuring the World Series. You know what I mean? Like, because the scrutiny would just be, oh, what are they cheating with now? And I mean, the irony of all that is it's their own damn fault because of the leniency that they got through kind of that punishment phase, right? So that's kind of the rich irony. But I do think that if the Dodgers were to play the Astros today, I think the Dodgers would have the upper hand, if we're being completely honest.
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting because Dave also mentioned Dustin May being down in Arizona, throwing up on. It sounds like he's throwing on a regular basis. We've got reports that Blake Trinan. I mean, think about this right now. The Dodgers bullpen, who I get it, Kimbrel's been a little shaky, but for the most part, the Dodgers bullpen has been able to do this without Daniel Hudson, without Blake Trinan. Like, they're not going to get Hudson. Hudson's down. That's a big piece that they missed. Yeah. But they're going to get Blake Trinan right back, hopefully. Now, if Blake Trinan comes back, maybe they make another move or maybe even if they don't make another move, if Dustin May goes into the rotation or if Dustin May goes into the bullpen, the Dodgers, I don't know, man. I'm sure they'll probably will make other moves, but maybe they're starting to get healthy at the right time, and it's the second half of the season, and I do think they're going to need it, because don't forget, I know all you guys have already counted out the show pods, but the show pods are going to get Tatis back. And the one thing, we haven't even talked about what the Dodgers did last week, by the way, going 6-1 in the last 7 games and beating the show pods 3 games out of 4. But what was glaringly obvious to me in that series is the show pods offense is their weak point. So getting Tatis back is going to help them. And if Machado gets healthy, it's going to be a different show pods team that the Dodgers are going to see. And they're going to see a lot of the show pods in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's, I've talked about it a bunch here. Talk to me in July. And now July is upon us, and the All-Star break is about to, be upon us as well. And now we're going to kind of see what these teams are, if these teams are legit, right? And, the Padres are just as well built as anyone to kind of flip that switch and figure it out, because their pitching is legit. It's just been injuries in other fronts, right? And the Dodgers have had their injuries. I hope Blake Treinen is Blake Treinen. If Blake Treinen is Blake Treinen, dog, that bullpen, and if Craig Kimbrell is like Craig even said himself the other day, that he was starting to feel like he was turning a corner and he was feeling pretty good. And last night he pitched pretty well. So if you have a Blake Treinen in the 8th and a Craig Kimbrell in the 9th, that's ungodly fair. And then we haven't even given Evan Phillips his flowers yet. So you throw an Evan Phillips into that mix, from your 7, 8, and 9, dog. If you can keep going out and getting Mitch White, type outings from your starters where they're going 5, and you get your Yency Almontes, your Brusdar Graterols out there that are just raking right now, and then you get to that 7, 8, 9 with those 3 guys, man, it's ultimately that's what it comes back down to, is health, right? And if the Dodgers can stay healthy with that bullpen, the Dodgers are well positioned to make a run. It's just a matter of now, getting healthy. And I think that, like you said, they're getting healthy at the right time.
Roger, is that confirmed, what you just shared with us?
Yeah, Dodgers just announced it.
The Dodgers just announced it.
So breaking news for those of you on the live, the Dodgers have announced that Mike Burito has passed away. For those of you who don't know who Mike Burito is, you need to know who he is, especially since this is a podcast that stands. This is a Fernando Valenzuela podcast, and the story of Fernando Valenzuela cannot be told without talking about Mike Burito. I had the pleasure, the honor of spending time with Mike Burito last year, so this is a really sad. I hate that this is coming at the end of today's show. Yeah. This is a day after the Mexican League celebrated Fernando Valenzuela's jersey being retired in all of the Mexican Baseball League. Mm-hmm. So this is sad, man. This is very sad. And again, this is just something that I hate to segue to this, but the fact that Mike Burito is not going to be around when Valenzuela's jersey finally gets retired is another reason why the Dodgers needed to have done this yesterday. So for the Dodgers to not retire that number, Harin had says this. Harin had said he wants it retired before he goes. I would hate to lose Harin, and Valenzuela's jersey is still not retired.
Facts. Deepest condolences to Mike Burito's family and friends. Legend. There's just another way to put it. That dude, if you don't know who he is, go do some research. Look up the impact that guy had on the Los Angeles Dodgers as a franchise. It's in baseball just as a whole, but just the Dodgers in particular. It's next level. Deepest condolences to him.
For those of you who don't know who he is, he would wear the Panama hat. He was a Cuban guy. He had a cigar, wear glasses. He would have the radar gun behind home plate. So he was, and he showed me when I met him all the championship jewelry that he had on both hands. And it's very sad. Dodgers, Stan, come on the show. Give us an explanation. Valenzuela's jersey needs to be retired.
Straight up.
And this is what we were talking about today. So now Mike Burito, he's gone. What's it going to take? Is Fernando obviously ain't gonna live forever, right? Is it gonna take Fernando passing away when the Dodgers finally say, hey, we love Fernando, let's retire his number? That's gonna be too late. You got to do it now. Let Fernando enjoy it. Let his family enjoy it. Let his family and friends enjoy this. And the fans.
Yeah, most importantly, the fans. I mean, at the end of the day, Fernando Mania is not Fernando Mania without the fans. So give the man his flowers too. The man did what he did, and he's there's no other way to put it. El toro es el toro. Rough segue, but real quick.
Yeah, very rough.
I've had a couple of those today. You guys you'll hear on the episode on Monday what I'm talking about. Yeah. But wanted to spotlight a couple comments. Thank you guys, by the way, for interacting and commenting. We encourage it at all times, whether it's just random tweets or Instagram stuff that we post out, or when we're on live. Anthony Magdaleno says, "I love Trey, and he's been good for the Dodgers since he showed up. But why don't I trust him? Do you guys trust Trey? In Trey, I trust. He is. If he's not the best shortstop in baseball, he's probably the second best shortstop in baseball. It's not even close. And let's just also be real here. Obviously, the Dodgers at this point, I'm sure Trey and the Dodgers, if they had a conversation, that ship has sailed now because of the years that he's having, and he's going to the market, which is he deserves, and every player is entitled to. Someone is going to back up the Brinks truck because they understand that dude's value. And he's so good. It's criminal how good this dude is. And it's preposterous because I think he's only going to be 28. And so he's still, entering his prime, if you will. So, yeah, I trust him. What about you guys?
I'm wondering when I first heard trust, I don't know why my mind went kind of like, does he trust that Trey wants to be here? Does he trust? I went more, his performance, come on. He's so good. And I just wonder what he meant. Like, do we not know enough about Trey, the person? Or is it purely is it because of maybe his performance? Remember last year in the postseason, Trey didn't do as well as he did during the regular season. I think what that means.
No, I think you're right, Alicia. I think you hit it on. Anthony, if you're still on, let us know if that's what you meant. I think a lot of people, it left a sour taste in their mouth. I know you're the president of the Trey fan club, and I know you want the Dodgers to re-sign him, but I wonder how many Dodger fans are concerned when the postseason comes around this year. Is he going to bounce back? Is he going to have a different postseason? Because let me tell you, if he has a huge postseason, not only is it going to be good for the Dodgers, but the guy is going to get paid. Yeah. He's going to get paid.
Yeah. What about you, Roger?
Yeah, the only thing little concerning to me is that I keep hearing that he's kind of like an East Coast guy, and he wants to play on the East Coast. So that's kind of what's concerning to me. He wants to have spring training in Florida. So that's, but obviously money talks, The Dodgers throw out a deal out there that he can't resist, he'll be back in LA. I'd love to have him, obviously, because it's going to create a hole at shortstop if we don't.
100%. That's the other thing. Who are you going to replace him with? Not to knock anyone in the farm, but Trey Turner is Trey Turner. You know what I mean? So that's why they went that. If we're being 100% honest, the part of the cornerstone of that deal when they acquired Max is Trey. They got to hold on to him. Obviously, Max went and did what he did, and he's pitching with the Mets now. But they got to hold on to Trey for 1.5 seasons.
Philip Lopez just commented on that. It's Scherzer all over again.
Man, that guy's triggered or something. Right? What's wrong, Philip? It's okay. No pasa nada. No pasa nada, Philip. Everything's going to be fine.
And that's coming from a Raider fan, Philip. So I think you'll be okay.
I bet you Philip is a Raiders fan.
Real quick before we end the show and we let everybody know again about our live coming up at LA Hot Wings. Uh-huh. We did get a comment from Philip about my hat. It's the Dodger hat, so you can actually go find it. But we have some other hats that you're only going to find on the Bleed Low site, or if you come to our event, we'll probably have some to give away and whatnot. So Alicia's got one there that we have. Pretty dope hats, I think. And then we got our traditional Bleed Low logo hat, and then a new one that I just been working on, which I think is pretty fire. It's our Positive Taco hat.
Positive Taco influence, ladies and gentlemen.
So I think that was pretty
I knew it. I was right. Philip is a Raiders fan. The Raiders. The Autumn Wind is a Raider.
That's why there was undertones of years of abuse, so it all makes sense.
Exactly, the trauma.
Yeah, that's PTSD. I know PTSD when I see it.
You guys are just mad because the Raiders are the most progressive team in the NFL. Because what did the Raiders do today? Yeah, exactly.
My internet's going bad.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
time to cut off. Yeah.
All right, let's recap. Let's get our picks before we go because the game's about to start. Dodgers and the Cubs, so we want to make sure you guys are ready to go watch the game. Recap of last week: nobody won because the Dodgers went 6-1, and nobody thought the Dodgers were gonna be that dominant.
It's all Juan's fault.
I went 5-2.
Yeah, Alonzo and the Princess picked 5-2, and then the Jinx Eddie Mush over here joined me in going 4-3, and we lost.
Well done. Well
so
done, sir.
We are going to update the standings in first place, and this is why Sports Empire is going to have the shirts made Stand with Juan, is myself with 5 points, Alicia's in second with 4, and then Alonzo and Roger are tied with 3. So coming up next week, we got 4 against the Cachorros of Chicago, and then we got 3 against the Cardenales, man. So the Redbirds. So Alonzo, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm gonna go 5-2.
All right. Alicia?
1, 2, 3, 4. We better sweep the Cubs. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go 5-2 as well. That's my instinct.
Roger.
All right. Now, we always say babyface for last.
That's right. That's
because
right.
he is the most important.
He is. I'm also under the weather, so forgive me.
I'm gonna go 4-3.
Oh, okay.
I think they're going to win 3 out of 4 against the Cachorros. And then, hey, Sports Empire with the 4-3 too. Man, that Sports Empire is a smart man.
The anti-pessimist club coming through and real.
I think they dropped 2 out of 3 against the Cardenales, and it hates me to say that.
I can hear the pain in your voice as you said that.
So they're playing 7 games, Roger. So they're going 8-0.
Yeah, go ahead, Roger.
They're going 5-2.
5-2.
All right.
I hate to say this to Alicia and Alonzo, you guys aren't winning next week, but thanks for participating.
Years of abuse.
So
yeah.
Hey, those of you guys that are in the chat and in the live, make sure you drop in your predictions for next week. Sports Empire with the 4-3. Everybody else, we want to hear from you guys. If you're not subscribed to the podcast, if you're not following us on Twitter, if you're not following us on Instagram, what are you guys waiting for? Come on, it's the Bleed Lows podcast. You're going to get all the details on our big kickback that we're throwing up, the All-Star Watch Party. Va a ser una parranda on Tuesday, and make sure you joined us.
And at somewhere our socials are going to show up on a ticker at some point. I don't work that because our budget is 0 and I don't know how to use that. But real quick, before we kick it over to the homies at Sportsnet LA, go watch them. Shout out to the homie John Hartung, has the COVID. Feel better, big guy. The Bleed Los All-Star Game Watch Party. Jeez, that was tough. Tuesday, July 19th, 5 p.m. is when doors open at LA Hot Wings. 5468 Valley Boulevard. It's off of the 710 and Valley Boulevard. It's pretty easy to find over there on the kind of east side-ish part of downtown over by the LAFC practice facility. Come through. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to be doing our podcast live from there. So if you want to stand with Juan, he will be sitting, but you can stand with him. There was going to be food and drink specials. Wear Dodger gear, get half off of appetizers for wearing said Dodger gear, and then ask about the Lucky 13 specials. We're going to be pimping it all over the internet for however long for the next little bit. Come through, come to the kickback, hang out, and there's going to be plenty of giveaways from Trejo's Tacos and others, and I forgot the names. Apologies, we're just running out of time. Real quick, Bet Online presented this week's episode of the Carne Asada Live. Huge thanks to them. If you head on over to their website, which is betonline.ag, and use our promo code, which is BLEAV, BLEAV, you will receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just head on over there. They are the number one the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports information. Huge thanks to them for presenting this week's episode. Excuse me, I'm under the weather, so my throat's all messed up. But huge thanks to you guys. Follow us, give us the comments, give us whatever you can, follows, likes, all that good stuff. But again, head on over to Sportsnet LA. Check out the homies over there, and they'll get you sorted out against the first game against Los Cachorros de Chicago. So go check it out. And huge thanks to everyone. But on that note, we'll see you later. Princess del Valle, Alonso Juan, Babyface Gimmick in the Sky. We thank you guys. We love you guys. We'll catch you down the road.
I see you 7-0.